Nancy Guthrie's daughter finally spoke, and the new footage changed everything. The moment investigators released newly recovered surveillance footage from the home of Nancy Guthrie, the case took a chilling turn. For the first time, there was a visible timeline tied directly to the night she vanished. But what truly shook the public came next. Her daughter, Savannah Guthrie, finally broke her silence, and the timing could not have been more intense. What Savannah shared immediately sparked fresh theories, raw emotion, and mounting pressure on investigators. And now, one question hangs over everything. Why speak out now? And what does she know? Savannah's story doesn't begin in Arizona. It begins thousands of miles away in Australia, where her parents, Nancy and Charles, were living while Charles worked as a mining engineer. Savannah was born there in 1971 before the family eventually returned to the United States and settled in Arizona, the desert landscape that would shape her identity. That sense of stability shattered in 1988. Savannah was only 16 when her father died suddenly of a heart attack. Friends later described Charles as larger than life, protective, funny, deeply loyal, and gifted at turning ordinary moments into unforgettable memories. His death didn't just leave a hole in the family. It permanently altered its rhythm. Afterward, Savannah and her sister Annie made an unspoken promise. One of them would always be home on weekends so their mother would never feel alone. They never announced it. They simply lived it. Nancy, suddenly widowed, became both parents overnight. Savannah has often said every success that followed came from her mother's quiet strength, a woman who refused to let grief define their future. Years later, Nancy settled into a peaceful life in Tucson's Catalina foothills, near the Santa Catalina Mountains. She loved the calm, joked about javelinas wandering through her yard, and cherished the slower rhythm of desert living. Then came Saturday night. Nancy spent the evening at Annie's home for dinner and family games. She arrived by Uber around 5:32 p.m., stayed several hours, and was driven back home by relatives at about 9:45 p.m. Security records show her garage door opening at 9:48 p.m. and closing 2 minutes later. Everyone believed she was safely inside. But sometime after 1:47 a.m., her doorbell camera was disconnected. At 2:12 a.m., motion was detected, and at 2:28 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker app lost connection with her phone. Her phone was later found inside the house. Investigators now believe that moment may mark when she was taken. By late Sunday morning, friends noticed Nancy had missed their weekly live-streamed church gathering, something she never did. At 12:03 p.m., her family called 911. Deputies arrived minutes later. They quickly realized this was not a routine missing person case. Blood was found on the front porch. Homicide detectives were called in. Then things grew darker. Ransom messages began appearing, not sent to the family but to media outlets. Millions in Bitcoin were demanded, yet no direct contact was ever made with Nancy's loved ones. The FBI warned that some messages appeared to be hoaxes, and one man in Los Angeles was later arrested for attempting to exploit the situation. Through it all, Savannah stepped away from her professional duties and flew home. Days later, she appeared publicly beside her siblings, pleading for proof of life. She revealed her mother relies on daily medication and asked whoever was responsible to communicate. Her voice broke as she promised they would never stop searching. Then, on February 10, everything changed. The FBI released recovered surveillance footage. It shows a masked figure wearing gloves and a backpack approaching Nancy's front door, deliberately disabling the camera with a broken branch. Investigators confirmed the person was armed. For the first time, there was a face, hidden but real. Not speculation, not theory. A person. Savannah shared the images online, urging anyone with information to come forward. Within minutes, thousands responded. What had once been uncertainty became urgency. Nancy Guthrie was no longer just missing. She had been targeted. And now the entire country is watching, waiting for answers, hoping for a miracle, and praying that a daughter's plea reaches the person who knows where her mother is.